In a quiet corner of Earth, far from the busy cities, a small repair shop sat next to a dusty road. The shop belonged to Jack, an ordinary human mechanic. He lived alone, fixing broken cars and machines. His life was simple, almost boring. But all of that changed the night she walked into his shop. The door creaked as she entered. Jack looked up from under a car hood and froze. The woman standing there was the most beautiful creature he had ever seen. Her skin was smooth and pale, almost glowing. Her silver eyes shimmered in the dim light. She looked human but different. Too perfect, too flawless. "Is this the repair place?" she asked, her voice soft and musical. Jack wiped his hands and nodded. "Yeah, what do you need fixed?" She smiled slightly. "I have a small craft outside. It needs urgent repairs." Jack's heart raced. A craft? Not a car? He followed her outside. In the shadows behind his shop, he saw a strange, sleek ship, not from Earth. He swallowed hard. An alien ship, but curiosity won over fear. "All right," he said. "Let me take a look." While he worked, she watched him closely. Her gaze felt heavy, as if she was studying more than just his skills. Jack tried to focus on the broken parts, but he could feel her eyes on his every move. Hours passed. The two spoke very little, but a strange tension grew between them, a quiet connection. When he finished, she suddenly stepped closer, her silver eyes shining. "Thank you, Jack," she whispered. "I have something else to ask." Jack looked at her, confused. "What is it?" Without warning, she reached out and touched his face gently. Her fingers were cool and soft. She leaned in closer and kissed him, soft at first, then deeper. More passionate. Jack's mind spun. It didn't feel like a normal kiss. It felt like a mission. That night, she stayed with him. In the darkness, their bodies entwined, and Jack felt something powerful pass between them. He couldn't explain it. He didn't care. In her arms, nothing else mattered. By morning, she was gone. Jack woke up alone. Her ship was gone too. He waited all day, thinking she might return, but she didn't. Days passed. He couldn't stop thinking about her, the mysterious woman with silver eyes. Then came the shock. One evening, as Jack locked up his shop, a bright light filled the sky. He looked up and froze. A massive alien battleship hovered above, blocking out the stars. Smaller ships descended rapidly, surrounding his home. Alien soldiers, tall and armored, marched toward him. Their leader, a female officer with sharp features, stepped forward. Her silver eyes matched the woman he met, but this one was different. "Colder, more dangerous, Jack," she said, her voice like steel. "You must come with us." Jack's heart pounded. "Why? Who are you?" She didn't answer. Instead, she pulled out a small device and pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the air beside her, an image of the woman he spent that night with. But there was something strange about the image. The officer stared at it coldly. "That was not a visitor," she said. "That was the clone of our queen." Jack's blood ran cold. "Clone? Queen? You mean?" he whispered. "She wasn't real." The officer stepped closer. "She was real enough to complete her mission. And now, she carries your child." Jack staggered back, his mind raced. "A child? His child? Why me?" he asked. "Why would your people care?" The officer's lips curled into a cold smile. "Because now the real queen knows, and she wants you too." Before Jack could react, the soldiers surrounded him. Metal cuffs locked around his wrists. The officer nodded to her troops, and they lifted Jack off the ground, carrying him toward a transport ship. As he was taken away, he looked back at his small, quiet shop, realizing that his simple, boring life was over. Whatever was waiting for him beyond Earth's skies would change everything, and far above. Inside the great battleship, the real alien queen watched from her throne, her silver eyes shining not with anger, but with something deeper. curiosity, and perhaps desire, Jack sat quietly inside the alien transport ship. Strange lights glowed on the walls. The air smelled metallic and cold. He felt trapped, lost, confused. Just a day ago, he was a simple mechanic. Now he was being taken far from Earth, to a place no human had ever seen. The ship shook gently as it entered the massive alien mothership. Through a small window, Jack saw it, a floating city in space, larger than any human structure, glowing with blue and silver lights. Strange alien ships flew around it like insects around a flame dot as the door opened. Two tall guards pulled Jack out. Their armor shone and their helmets hid their faces. They didn't speak. They simply dragged him through long dark corridors. At last, the doors to a grand chamber opened. Jack's breath caught. The room was huge. Its floor was made of shining black stone. Tall pillars reached into shadows above. Strange symbols glowed faintly on the walls. At the far end, on a raised throne, sat the real alien queen. She was more beautiful than the clone, taller, more graceful, her silver hair flowing down her shoulders. Her eyes glowed faintly, and her skin shimmered like moonlight. But there was something more in her expression. Power, confidence, and something Jack couldn't read. Hunger. The guards pushed Jack to his knees before her. The queen rose from her throne slowly. Every movement she made was smooth, controlled. Her voice was soft but powerful. "So, you are the human," she said, stepping closer. Her eyes locked onto his. "The one who touched my clone." Jack swallowed hard. "I didn't know. She didn't tell me." The queen smiled gently. "Of course not. That was her mission, to see if a human could bond." She circled him slowly, her steps almost silent. The guards remained frozen, like statues. Jack could feel her gaze on the back of his neck, cool and sharp. Then she stopped in front of him. "Did you enjoy your time with her?" she asked. Jack hesitated. He didn't know what answer was safe. I did." The queen's smile grew wider, but her eyes remained cold. "Good, because now I want my turn." Her words sent a chill down Jack's spine. But there was no anger in her tone, only curiosity and desire mixed with royal command. Jack looked up at her. "Why me?" he asked, his voice shaking. Queen leaned down slightly, her face close to his. "Because human, my clone is pregnant, and I am curious. Curious about you, your kind, your abilities." Suddenly, she straightened and raised her hand. A hologram appeared in the air. Beside her, a glowing image of the clone holding her belly. Jack gasped. The clone's stomach was already slightly rounded. "This child will change my empire," the queen said. "But I want something more. I want my own." Jack's mind raced. Was this some kind of test? A trap? Or did she truly desire him? The queen's face gave nothing away. Then she waved her hand again, and the guards lifted Jack to his feet. "I could destroy your world," she said calmly. "But I won't if you give me what I ask." Jack felt fear, but somewhere inside, curiosity too. What kind of queen asks for such a thing? What secret did she hide behind her perfect face? The queen turned away, walking back to her throne. "Take him to my private chambers," she ordered. "I will visit soon." As the guards dragged Jack away again, he looked back at the queen. She sat gracefully on her throne, one hand resting under her chin, her glowing eyes watching him go. Jack knew then that this was just the beginning. The queen wanted something from him, and not just a child. There was a deeper plan. A hidden reason why the most powerful woman in the galaxy would care about one ordinary human. Jack sat alone in a large, strange room, the queen's private chambers. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Strange alien symbols moved across them like living tattoos. The air smelled sweet but sharp, almost like flowers mixed with metal. He was a prisoner, but nothing in the room felt like a prison. The bed was large and covered in silk-like fabric. A table beside it held fruits he had never seen before, glowing gently. He touched one but didn't dare eat. His mind raced. The queen wanted him for something. But why? Why would the most powerful ruler in the galaxy desire a simple human mechanic? Suddenly, the door slid open without a sound. The queen entered, wearing a flowing silver gown that shimmered as she walked. She looked less like a ruler now and more like a woman, curious about something she didn't understand. She sat on the edge of the bed, just a few steps away from Jack. "You are wondering why I brought you here," she said softly. Jack nodded. "Yes, I don't understand," the queen smiled. "Let me explain, human. My people are strong, but something is missing in us. We have become cold. My scientist told me that humans, your kind, have something special: warmth, passion, the power to bond." Jack listened carefully. Was that why the clone came to Earth? To test this bond? The queen leaned closer, her silver eyes locked onto his. "My clone became pregnant easily. That proved your value, but now I want more than a test. I want a child of my own, and I want it from you." Jack swallowed hard. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. "What happens if I say no?" he asked carefully. The queen's smile didn't fade, but her voice became colder. "If you refuse, Earth will suffer. My ships will burn your cities. Your people will kneel or die. But if you agree, I promise peace. Your planet will be safe." Jack felt trapped. She was offering him a bargain, but it wasn't really a choice. If he said no, billions would die. If he said yes, he would become part of something much bigger than he ever imagined. "Why me?" he asked again. The queen stood up and walked to a window that showed the endless stars outside. "Because I envy my clone," she said softly, her voice almost sad. "She shared something with you. She felt alive. I rule an empire, but I feel nothing. I want to feel what she felt." She turned back to Jack, her expression softer now. "Help me, human. Give me a child. Give me a bond. And your world will be safe forever." Jack looked at her. He realized she wasn't just a cold ruler. She was lonely, powerful, but isolated. In a way no human could imagine. But could he trust her? Would she really keep her promise? Or was this all part of a larger game? He knew one thing. Whatever he chose would decide the future of Earth. Jack took a deep breath. "All right," he said quietly. "I will help you, but on one condition." The queen raised an eyebrow. "A condition?" Jack met her gaze firmly. "You must promise not just to spare Earth, but to protect it, forever." The queen tilted her head, thinking. Then, slowly she smiled. "Agreed," she said. "Earth will be under my protection, as long as you stay with me." Jack felt a strange mix of fear and relief. The deal was made, but deep inside he wondered, had he just saved Earth? Or doomed it? The queen reached out her hand. "Then let us begin, human," she whispered. As he took her hand, Jack knew that his life, his world, would never be the same again. Jack walked beside the queen now, no longer treated like a prisoner, but not free either. The queen's private guards watched his every step, their silver armor shining coldly. Jack's mind was heavy. He had agreed to the queen's bargain. For peace, for Earth's safety, he had promised himself to her. But something felt wrong. The queen was hiding something. And so were her people. That night, as the queen spoke softly to him in her grand chamber, another scene was unfolding deep inside the giant alien ship One. Jack did not see. In the shadows, a secret meeting took place. 5 high-ranking alien commanders gathered around a hologram of Jack's face. "This human cannot be allowed to father the queen's child," one commander whispered, his face sharp and angry. "It is an insult to our race." Another commander nodded. The queen is blinded by curiosity or weakness. A child from this human will destroy the purity of our royal bloodline. But we cannot openly defy her, a third commander warned. She still controls the army, and her power is strong. The first commander smiled darkly. Then we act quietly. Assassinate the human before the child is born. If he dies, the queen's plan dies with him. The others agreed in silence. Back in the queen's chambers, Jack felt uneasy. The queen sat near him, telling him about her empire, her lonely rule, and her dreams for the future, but her words felt distant. Jack sensed eyes watching him, other eyes hidden in the shadows. Decided to ask, "Do your people accept this, you and me?" Jack asked carefully. The queen paused. For a moment, she looked almost sad. "No," she admitted. "Many of them hate this idea. They believe I am making a mistake. They fear change." Jack leaned forward. Then, "Aren't you worried about them trying to stop us?" The queen's eyes glowed faintly in the dim light. "Let them try," she said quietly. "I am their queen." Her confidence was strong. But Jack wasn't sure she understood how far. Hatred could go. Later that night, Jack was escorted back to his private room. 2 guards stood outside his door. He sat alone on the edge of the bed, thinking, wondering. Suddenly, a noise, a soft click, almost too quiet to hear. Jack turned quickly, but before he could react, a small panel on the wall slid open. A figure dressed in dark armor slipped silently into the room, holding a sharp glowing blade. An assassin. Jack's heart jumped. He backed away, looking for a weapon, but there was nothing. The assassin stepped forward quickly, raising the blade. But at that exact moment, the door burst open. The queen herself appeared, her eyes burning with fury. She lifted her hand, and a bright blue energy shot from her fingers. The assassin screamed. As he was thrown against the wall. In seconds, the guards rushed in, dragging the assassin away. The queen turned to Jack, her face cold, but her eyes worried. "You were right," she whispered. "There are those who want to kill you. Even." Now Jack swallowed hard. "What now?" he asked. The queen stepped closer. She placed her cool hand on his cheek. "Now, I keep you even closer. You will not leave my side." She looked deep into his eyes. "You are not just a bargain anymore, human. You are valuable to me." But Jack felt it clearly. Now this was no ordinary relationship. He was at the center of a power struggle he barely understood. And somewhere in the shadows, others were still plotting. And they would not stop until either Jack or the queen herself was dead. Jack could no longer sleep. Even in the queen's private quarters, danger followed him. He felt trapped in a beautiful cage. Every corner of the massive alien ship held eyes watching him, some loyal to the queen, others waiting for a chance to strike. But that night, something strange happened. A small round droid rolled into Jack's room. It was silent, but flashed a light toward him, red, then green, then blue. He frowned. The droid stopped at his feet and projected a hologram, a map of the ship, and a path marked escape. Jack's heart raced. Who sent this? Was it a trap or a real chance? He hesitated, then decided he needed answers. The queen wasn't telling him everything. Why did she want a child from him so badly? What secret was she hiding behind her soft smiles? He followed the droid carefully, moving quietly down empty corridors. The ship was quiet. His footsteps echoed softly in the silence. Suddenly, the droid stopped at a sealed door. It flashed another light. The door slid open. Inside was a hidden lab. Strange machines hummed softly. Large glass tubes lined the walls, each filled with green liquid. And inside, floating shapes. Jack stepped closer and froze. Inside the tubes were other clones, dozens of them. All of them looked like the queen. His breath caught. The clone he met on Earth was not the only one. There were many, too many. A soft voice spoke behind him. Now you see it. Jack spun around. A tall alien scientist stood there, thin and sharp-featured, wearing dark robes. Who are you? Jack demanded. The scientist smiled faintly. I am Dr. Vesh. I run this lab. And I know why the Queen brought you here. Jack shook his head. She told me she wants a child. To feel human emotions, to bond. Vesh laughed quietly. That's what she told you. But the truth is different. He pointed to one of the tubes. Inside floated a Queen clone, but her body looked sick, her skin pale and cracking. The Queen is dying, Vesh said. Her body is failing. The royal bloodline is weak. The clone that visited Earth? She was part of a desperate experiment to mix human and royal DNA, to fix what is broken. Jack's mind reeled. So this was never about me. It was about survival. Vesh nodded. Yes, you are a solution. The Queen doesn't just want a child. She needs one. Without your child, her empire will crumble. Jack stepped back, anger rising. She never told me the truth. Vesh lowered his voice. Because she fears showing weakness. She rules a galaxy. To her people, she must look perfect, strong, eternal. But inside, she is fading. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The Queen's voice echoed from speakers. Jack, come back to me. Now, Vesh turned to Jack. You must choose. Help her, and become part of this empire forever. Or escape now while you can. Jack's heart pounded. He looked once more at the floating clones, the sick royal bodies. The truth finally clear. He realized something important. This was not just about love or desire. This was about survival. For her people, and maybe even for Earth itself. But could he trust her? The door behind him slid open, and two guards stood there. Their weapons raised. There was no more time. Jack took a deep breath. He stepped forward slowly, raising his hands in surrender. But his mind was racing. Now he knew the truth, and the Queen had no idea that he knew. The guards brought Jack back to the Queen's throne room. But this time, the atmosphere felt different. The grand hall, once filled with light and pride, was dim. Only a few guards stood at the edges, and the Queen herself was waiting, seated quietly on her throne, her silver eyes softer than ever. As Jack approached, she raised a hand and whispered, "Leave us." The guards bowed and left without a word. The heavy doors closed behind them, and now they were alone. For the first time, Jack saw something in the Queen's face that he hadn't seen before. Vulnerability. She did not look like a ruler now. She looked like a woman carrying a heavy burden. "Come," she said gently, motioning for him to sit beside her on the steps of the throne. Jack hesitated, then sat down, still cautious. He couldn't forget what he had just learned, the secret of the clones, the truth about her sickness. But before he could speak, she spoke first. "I know you've seen it," she said quietly. Jack froze. "Seen what?" "The lab, the clones. The failed experiments," she said. Her voice trembled slightly. So she knew. She had let him go, knowing he might discover everything. The Queen turned toward him, her silver hair falling around her shoulders. "I wanted you to see it, Jack. I wanted you to understand." Jack frowned. "Understand what?" "That I'm just part of your plan to save your race?" The Queen lowered her gaze. "At first, yes. When my scientists told me about human bonding, I ordered them to send the clone to Earth. It was a mission, nothing more." She paused, her fingers brushing against her throne's cold surface. "But then, I watched you," she continued. "I watched the way you cared, the way you touched my clone. Gently, with kindness, not as a duty but as something real." Her voice softened even more. "In all my long life as Queen, no one has ever treated me like that. My advisors obey me, my soldiers fear me, but no one has cared. Jack felt the tension in the room shift. This was her confession, not as a queen, but as a lonely woman desperate to feel something real. I envied my clone, she admitted. She tasted something I never have, human warmth. That's why I brought you here. Not just to save my people, but because I wanted to feel it myself. Her silver eyes glistened, as if tears might come, but she held them back. Jack remained quiet. Part of him felt sorry for her. Part of him still doubted her. She leaned closer. I don't expect you to love me, she whispered. But stay. Help me, not as a servant, not as a prisoner, but as a companion. For a moment, silence filled the grand hall. Jack finally spoke. You lied to me, he said softly. But I can see your truth now too. The queen smiled faintly. Then stay, Jack. Help me rule. Help me heal. Her hand reached out slowly, resting gently on his dot at that moment. Jack realized something strange. This powerful alien queen, ruler of millions of worlds, needed him more than anyone ever had. But far beyond the throne room, hidden eyes still watched. The rebellion was not over, and the danger to both Jack and the queen was only just beginning. Jack stood beside the queen now, not as a prisoner, but as someone who had learned her deepest secret. He could see the pain she carried, the loneliness behind her perfect face. But outside the throne room, danger was rising fast. The rebel commanders who had planned Jack's assassination were not finished. They believed the queen's feelings for a human made her weak. In hidden parts of the ship, they gathered weapons, troops, and hatred. And they had one final plan, a coup. That night, the queen brought Jack to a private balcony that looked over the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, a sea of light and shadow. I want peace, she said softly. For my people, for your planet. If we bond, I will protect Earth forever. But my enemies will never accept this easily. Jack nodded. He knew she was right. He could feel a decision coming, one that would change everything. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Red lights flashed. The queen froze. A voice shouted through hidden speakers. The queen has betrayed our people. She will be removed. All loyal soldiers must stand down. It had begun. The queen looked at Jack. For the first time there was fear in her eyes. We must go, she whispered. They will come for you first. Jack grabbed her hand. No, we face them together. The two ran through winding corridors, shadows moving quickly behind them. Loyal guards fought rebels, laser blasts echoing off metal walls. But Jack wasn't helpless anymore. He knew the ship's layout from the map he saw in the secret lab. He led the queen through hidden paths, toward the central control room. This way, he shouted. As they ran, the queen watched him, this human, ordinary but brave, who now risked everything for her. When they reached the control room, the doors slid shut behind them. The queen took her throne there, a smaller but powerful chair, with controls for the entire ship. Her fingers danced over glowing panels. I can end this, she said quickly. But they must see that you stand with me. She turned to Jack. If you speak to them, if you tell them why you chose me, some may listen. Jack took a deep breath. A communication screen opened before him, showing hundreds of alien soldiers watching. He spoke. I am Jack, a human, and I stand with your queen. He paused, choosing his words carefully. She has ruled with strength, but also with loneliness. She wanted to understand, to feel, to save her people. And now together we can bring peace, not just for her empire, but for my planet too. His words echoed across the ship. For a long moment, silence. Then, slowly, one by one, soldiers lowered their weapons. The rebellion ended not with violence, but with Jack's voice and courage. Later, as peace returned to the ship, the queen and Jack stood together on the bridge, watching Earth in the distance. You saved more than me today, the Queen said softly. You saved 2 worlds, Jack smiled faintly. So, what happens now? The Queen turned, her silver eyes glowing with warmth at last. Double quotes now, we rule together, she said. As partners. As something more. And far above the earth, a new future began, a future where a human mechanic and an alien queen changed the fate of 2 civilizations forever.